What's going on YouTube? The Apophis here and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a video on the bullet spread of the assault rifles from close range, which is this test here, standing on the blue aiming at the wall, and a medium to long range, which we're going to do in the pool area down here that you're going to see in a second. All of these weapons are at stock with no attachments, so obviously adjust accordingly to depending on what you put on your weapon. This is a part 1 of part 2 series. There's a lot of assault rifles, so look forward to part 2. We're going to start with the MTAR. Going in order that the game lists these rifles. As we can see, firing from the hip up close isn't too bad. It's actually on par with that of a submachine gun. So if that's your thing, maybe throw a laser sight on it and get even better. Again, no recoil management, and you see the tight group that we're keeping here at short range with ADSing this weapon. So maybe ADS if you got the time to do it, because you're going to have a whole lot greater accuracy by doing so. The Type 25, on the other hand, has horrible grouping from the hip, as we can see, compared to the MTAR as well as the other assault rifles. However, when we do take this weapon and have the chance to aim down sight with it, you'll see here that we're pleasantly surprised at the tight group that this weapon gives us. Again, no recoil management going on whatsoever, and this weapon is at stock. This is an impressive group, so if you have the time to aim down sights up at close range, feel free to do so. SWAT 556, so here we're going to take a look at a 3-round burst weapon. And we're going to see that from the hip, the group is considerably tight, which we would expect from a burst fire weapon. That's accuracy is kind of what you're getting with the lack of the rate of fire. So if you can handle not firing so quickly, because you're better with the accuracy, then maybe this is a good choice for you. Up close it does okay, but when we aim down sights with this weapon, even at close range, this thing is putting all 3 shots through the same hole every time, and that's going to be something that's consistent across the board. You'll see that when we move on to the long range test with the SWAT 556. So if sacrificing the rate of fire is something you're okay with, maybe this is your weapon of choice. The FAL is kind of in the same boat. It's going to be a single shot rifle, but what that means is the accuracy is going to be above what we're going to see from rifles that are fully automatic. You can see here at short range, the group is incredibly tight and nice. So maybe with the laser sight, get a little more accuracy on there and you'll be able to pull the trigger fast enough to get your kills from the hip. And as to be expected, aim down sights, we're putting every round through the same hole. Accuracy is not an issue here, especially at this close range. Now the M27, moving back to our full auto rifles here, doesn't have too bad of a hip fire spread from close range. However, it's definitely no submachine gun, to say the least. As consistent with most of the results here, once we ADS, you're going to see very little recoil coming off of these assault rifles, which seems to be the theme across the board, but you're putting almost every round down the same hole. And this is pretty impressive since how there is no recoil management, as I've stated before. So up close, it looks like all the assault rifles are viable options. Let's see where and when they stand out at this medium to long range test. Here with the MTAR, although the group was semi-decent at close range from the hip, it spreads quite a bit more when we step the range up here. So definitely if you're at medium to long range, you're definitely going to want to ADS. You're going to be wasting way too much ammo by not aiming down your sights. As we can see here, by aiming down your sights, you're still getting a very nice group. If you can manage the little bit of recoil that this thing has, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to put all those rounds through the same hole and get your kills at medium to long range while aiming down sights. Now, Type 25 was the assault rifle that had some of the worst spread from the hip at close range. So, as to be expected, from this distance, it is horrible. Absolutely horrible. If you're running the Type 25, do not fire from the hip. Make sure you're taking the time to aim down sights. As you can see, the drastic difference in bullet pattern. This is a nice tight group. Aside from that one stray round up there top right, the Type 25 does give you dead accuracy when aiming down sights at this medium to long range area. Moving on to the SWAT 556. Again, this is our 3-round burst rifle. So as we can expect, the group is going to be a little tighter from the hip, although there are a fair amount of stray rounds that seem to be drifting up high and right. It is still better than the Type 25 when firing from the hip at this range. However, when we do switch to the aim down sights option here, you'll see that even at this medium to longer range, we are putting all 3 rounds of each burst through the same hole. So if you have the time to aim down sights with this weapon, that's what you're going to want to do. I would suggest taking this out on a somewhat larger map because the accuracy is dead on, and you don't have to worry about the rate of fire so much if you kind of keep your distance. Now, the FAL was our single shot and performed incredibly well when we looked at it at close range, and as to be expected here, even the group from the hip at a distance isn't too bad. Where this weapon really shines, as you can expect, is when we aim down sights with this. Even at medium to long range, we're going to be putting the same amount of rounds through one hole. This weapon is deadly accurate. So, again, if you have the time, maybe the FAL is your option if you don't mind sacrificing your rate of fire, because you will be deadly accurate. Alright, last but not least, for this part of this review is the M27. It was fairly impressive at close range with the spread. However, at this medium to long range, you are wasting more rounds than you need to not get on target with. So it's best to be avoided. Aim down sights. It's just like every other assault rifle. The grouping is incredibly tight, which should be expected because these are designed to be longer range weapons. So I'd like to say thanks for stopping by. If you liked what you heard or saw, please leave a like. If you want more of what you heard or saw, please click that subscribe button. As always, your comments, both positive and negative, are welcome. I will do the best I can to respond to each and every one of them. If you're not already, follow me on Twitter to find out what I'm doing and what I'm working on next. And make sure you stay tuned. There will be an annotation somewhere in this video to get you to part 2 of this review, because you don't want to miss out on the rest of the assault rifles. So, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.